So guys, Bitcoin is currently at 68,000 right now. We could be deviating a little bit lower. Altcoins are on the verge of a crazy rip. Right now, everyone is accumulating, which you should be doing right now. But I want to talk about some specific events that are going to be coming up, like the US election, the Fed cuts, the FOMC meeting, and a bunch more that you should be aware of. That is going to have an effect on the crypto markets, altcoins, Bitcoin, and everything else in between. But other than that, if you're new to my channel, go and check out the rest of my content. I'm an intermediate trader documenting my journey since 2023, showing you guys my wins, my losses, keeping you guys updated on the markets, as well as how you guys can capitalize on these events. Altcoins right now are kind of down, not kind of, they are really down, and they're on the verge of a huge rotation from the liquidity from Bitcoin moving into those altcoins. I made a recent video talking about AI coins that you should really look into, and I'm going to be making another updated video about meme coins. But guys, let's go ahead and jump into the markets and see exactly what you need to know. So guys, as I said, Bitcoin is currently trading at 68,000 right now. Everyone was talking about how we need to hold around the 69,000 mark, or we're going to be deviating to the lower support range that we saw earlier in the month, that was currently sitting around that 65,000 region. From there, we could be jumping a little bit lower, but every time we get to around that 68,000 region, we have been seeing a jump up to the upside, just because it's acting as support right now. Justin Bennett has backed this up based off of what I was saying with price action. He says it's been a while since Bitcoin dumped on a Sunday, just pretty much because it's the closeout for a month. Usually we're having some positive closeouts, especially with what was causing the price action. But he pretty much was saying it's been a while since we've seen a dump with Bitcoin on a Sunday. He says if we lose 69K, 65K is next in his opinion, which I don't necessarily completely believe, because we have deviated below the 69,000 region, but this isn't a strong enough breakdown for us to start crashing really specifically. And we are looking at the daily chart time frame right now. Most people are looking at a 4-hour time frame, and once you start to get more in a macro lens, this is whenever you can start to get a little bit more accurate, but you can also get a little bit misguided from specific trend lines of what everyone's talking about. But a lot of people are talking about we're retesting on a specific trend line that we have been seeing. Justin Bennett talks about it. He says Bitcoin is resetting on yet another trend line. I'll be the first to say that trend lines shouldn't be used alone. That's always true, but clearly they can be useful in trending markets for multiple reasons. 69K is the key to unlock lower prices support for now. So currently, guys, we can see on these specific trend lines, at the end of the day, like how Justin Bennett says, we shouldn't completely rely on them, but they do give us a proper understanding and long-term perspective of what we need to hold in terms of specific ranges on support, as well as what we can see in terms of deviations. But guys, where we're currently trading is around that 68,000 region, and we're on the verge of some crazy events that are going to have a huge effect on the market, which I'm about to jump into. But currently right now, trading at around 69,000 or 68,408. Overall, we could be seeing some different jumps, deviations lower if we break down below the 68,000 region. In my opinion, that will be the key indicator that we might be dropping down a little bit lower. We do need to see the sentiment around well traders to retail and see exactly what is going on. But overall, we should be keeping up with the price action around this, as well as when the markets open tomorrow and how it's going to have an effect. So in terms of specific events, I saw a great post from another person called Cryptophoric. He says Bitcoin dominance is currently trading around 60.51%, keeping Bitcoin in a 68K to 70K range, while altcoins drop 20 to 40% from recent highs, which we've been seeing that with altcoins, and exactly that price peak and support for Bitcoin sitting around that 69,000 region, which I just said. This pattern is common in bull runs, as the rising Bitcoin dominance typically pulls altcoins down. In his experience, a rejection zone between 64% and 65.8% could trigger an altcoin rally, and he's talking about that dominance, while Bitcoin hits new all-time highs and moves sideways. Here are 3 key points to watch. He talks about Bitcoin dominance reaching the rejection levels, which is around, in his opinion, that 64 to 65,000 region, or not 65,000, 65% region. We talked about earlier in the week how Bitcoin dominance hit around that 60% region, and when it hits that region, usually we see a rotation of that liquidity into altcoins. But he's talking about how we need to keep up with that Bitcoin dominance region and that level of that specific percentage. And then he says Bitcoin closing above the monthly resistance of 71,000, just because of, you know, that monthly close of what we want to see in terms of when we reclaim that region. And then 3, altcoins holding higher time frame supports and showing reversal signs. If these align, it could be a strong opportunity for altcoins. And then he goes on to say patient here pays off, holding USDT or stable coins pretty much could let you know, could benefit you when altcoins start to deviate lower. Another person talking about this is Siju. He's saying how next week is going to be the most important week for Bitcoin and crypto in 2024, pretty much because of the events that are taking place, like how I said at the beginning of this video. Reasons: the US election and the FOMC rate decision, which is going to be talking about Fed cuts around the US markets and everything else. If anything doesn't come in favor of the market, Bitcoin and crypto will dump hard. Here's everything you need to know about the upcoming events and how it can impact your portfolio. He goes on to talk a little bit more about specific things about the US election, which of course is going to be a big indicator. He says on 6th of November, the US president will be confirmed. So far from different platforms, Donald Trump is taking the lead, but this could quickly change. Overall, everyone's talking about how a Donald Trump, a Republican Party win would be super bullish for Bitcoin, and a Democratic win would be super bearish for Bitcoin. But at the end of the day, we're going to see a rally for Bitcoin regardless, but this could be a sell the news event if it doesn't work out for the Republican Party. He goes on to say something about pretty much poly market, talking about how the odds are in Donald Trump's favor, but there's a whole bunch of different things that are going into play that could be swaying Kamala's win, but it all goes into different perspectives. He then talks about liquidations, massive liquidations in the short term. Bitcoin will get sold off and alts will drop even more, but in a capitulation event, the crypto markets will bounce back and new highs will happen. So he pretty much is talking about how the same thing as Crypto Forex was talking about in terms of Bitcoin dominance reaching the rejection levels and altcoins deviating a little bit lower, just because we need to see that change in liquidity. And if Bitcoin dominance goes up, of course altcoins are going to drop down a little bit more. The FOMC meeting second, probably the first time crypto investors are paying the least attention to the FOMC meeting, but that doesn't mean it's not important. Right now there's a 98.9% probability of a 25 BPS rate. This means that the market has already priced in this event, and he talks a little bit more into it. This means that the market is already priced into the event, but there's more to it. What's more important than the rate is the FED's Chair Powell's commentary. Since the last FOMC meeting, unemployment has gone down, but CPI data has come in higher than expected. If Powell focuses more on the CPI and turns hawkish, this dumps the market. And he gives a little bit perspective around the Bitcoin dominance, which we talked about with Crypto Fic or Crypto Fork, whatever this dude's name is. And this is whenever you have to start coming to your own conclusions, keeping up with these specific indicators, and then drawing those lines when we can start to see that rally. At the end of the day, we are on that verge, and keeping up with the price action around Bitcoin is super, super key right now. So guys, that's one of the main things. We get into, the huge event that is happening already in the next day, guys. Next 2 days, Donald Trump has retaken the lead with a 2% higher likelihood of winning the election over Kamala Harris, according to Kalshi, as well as Poly Market and a few others. At the peak, Trump had a 30% lead over Harris, which is 2 days to go. Prediction market says it is a very tight race. And this is where it all comes down to, guys. Different perspectives, different narratives, as well as what people believe is going to drive the crypto bull run. At the end of the day, this is going to be a huge event that is going to have an effect, as well as the FOMC meeting and how it's going to have an effect on the markets. Jumping into where we're at in this crypto cycle, guys, I love to follow CryptoCon and his markets in terms of halvings, as well as Bitcoin charts and specific indicators whenever we start to see rallies in specific cycles. Overall, he says, with only slight differences, monthly fear and greed looks the same as it did last cycle just before Bitcoin entered the 2021 bull run. Soon, everyone will forget the times when prices went sideways and adopt up only. The cycle loves to hide in plain sight. So guys, he talks about practically where we are in this specific region based off of the last cycle, and we are on the verge of a crazy rip up. He talks about, you know, based off of this chart, I'll put an arrow to it, of whenever we see extreme fear, you know, and then fear, neutral, greed, and then extreme greed, we are getting to that point when we're going to start seeing that extreme greed. And he gives the point in the previous cycle on, you know, the number 6. I'll show you guys on the bottom chart whenever we started to see that greed and then we started to peak out, as well as how it related to the price action in the market with Bitcoin and whenever we saw that huge pump. So we're currently on the verge of a crazy run with Bitcoin, pretty much based off the indicators that we have been seeing on multiple things: Bitcoin dominance, events that are coming up, price action around Bitcoin, as well as previous cycles and how it has reacted to the market. But guys, the main thing is keeping up with all these specific events as well as Bitcoin and exactly how everything is going to keep on going. Like how he says, sooner or later everyone is going to adopt the mentality of up only, and hopefully you guys are dollar cost averaging to make sure you are going to be exposed whenever everyone adopts that mentality. In terms of altcoin, guys, I've been keeping it simple just because altcoins have been taking a huge hit these last few weeks, but we have been seeing ups and downs. So it all varies, guys, just depending on the coins you're invested in. I hope you're invested in AI meme coins. You should go ahead and check out my other video talking about AI coins, guys, just because the AI sector is really slept on. But overall, talking about altcoins, the total 2 chart bullish, US elections very soon. It is getting exciting. And if we just look at the price action around, you know, altcoins, guys, we saw that huge rally back in 2018 and 2021, and now we have just been trading sideways and waiting for that huge rip. And this is the time, as well as you look at the bottom side of when we saw those huge peaks in the market, we haven't seen them. And now, guys, is the time. Now is the time to be, you know, accumulating while everybody is capitulating their bags. Overall, this is pretty much what's going on in the markets. I'll give a quick recap so you can have an understanding, a quick synopsis. Overall, Bitcoin is currently trading at around 68.6. You know, 69,000 is the region that Justin Bennett was talking about. He's talking about how it's a key level for the price around Bitcoin. He thinks if we drop below that 69,000 region, we could be seeing 65,000 in his opinion. We are below the 69,000 region, but it is not a strong enough fall, guys. You know, strong enough bearish sentiment for us to start that deviation point. We still need to keep up with what's fueling the markets, like the longs and shorts with the whale traders as retail traders. But overall, you need to keep up with that price action around Bitcoin. In terms of Bitcoin dominance, you know, 60% was the region that we saw in the last cycle whenever we started to see, you know, liquidity shift over into altcoins. But overall, everyone has different opinions of when we're going to start to see it. You know, that range and zone can be between that 60% region and 70%, but everyone has their own perspectives, and keeping up with that Bitcoin dominance chart and percentage is going to really keep you ahead, as well as the Bitcoin price action where we close that on the monthly time frame, as well as the current macro events. Now, guys, like how I said, with the FOMC meeting and the US election that is coming up, these are going to be some important events that are going to have a huge effect on the crypto markets, the US markets as well. And if you're not keeping up with this, you aren't going to be, you know, completely aware of why your bags might be dumping. In terms of where we're at in this cycle, you know, overall, we're, you know, on track to see some crazy gains based off of the sentiment in the market. And sooner or later, everyone is going to adopt that up only mentality. And I hope that you already have that mentality. I'm sure if you're watching this video, you're pretty bullish, but overall, you need to be dollar cost averaging while everybody else is capitulating. Altcoins, guys, have been trading sideways for a long time. You've had around 2 years to accumulate, and now is the time for a huge bullish move. At the end of the day, like how we've been talking about, we need to see the liquidity move and the dominance move from Bitcoin into altcoins, but everything is a specific cycle. Everything has a specific time frame, and that's why you need to keep up with the events. But guys, that is currently what's going on in the crypto markets. Bitcoin is pretty much on the verge of doing some crazy moves. We need to keep up with the Bitcoin dominance as well, and how it's having an effect on altcoins. There are some huge events coming out with the US election, the FOMC meeting that is coming up, as well as a few others that I didn't discuss in today's meeting. On top of that, we have a whole bunch of liquidity running into the markets, and if you're not keeping up with everything, guys, you're going to miss out. We're on the verge of crazy gains, life-changing wealth, and if you're not keeping up with the best performing sectors, exactly what's happening in the markets, you're really gonna miss out, and you're not gonna understand what's happening. But guys, if you're new to my channel, go ahead and check out the rest of my content. I'm an intermediate trader documenting my journey since 2023, showing you guys my wins, my losses, my gains, and everything else in between in terms of what's going on in the crypto markets. I like to keep you guys updated with the macro events as well as a broad perspective on the markets, just so you can get more confident and also know exactly where to look. Altcoins need to get that liquidity, but right now we need to keep up with the price action around Bitcoin and that dominance, and whenever we can start to see that shift. Overall, I'll keep you guys updated on the markets as well as specific coins that I'm investing in. At the end of the day, AI and meme coins are performing the best, but other sectors are going to see rallies as well, like RWA, gaming, L2s, and multiple others. But at the end of the day, guys, you have to come up to your own decisions and really dive into the markets and decide what you want to do. But overall, go ahead and check out the rest of my content. Go ahead and check me out on X as well. I'm trying to get monetized on my X account as well as this YouTube channel and go full-time in crypto trading and make it easier for beginners and everything like that. But overall, let me know what you guys think of my content as well as my perspective on the space and exactly what you think is going to be happening in the next few days as well as the next few weeks. But overall, I keep you guys updated on the markets. I drop daily content every day, so go ahead and drop me a comment, like, subscribe, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.